Manchester United versus Southampton. Neither side's got anything to play for in the Premier League now. Southampton comfortable in the table. Manchester United worrying about a Europa League final, which we've got to win that. And I would expect to change side again to what I was going to put out in the Europa League final, but I would expect that there'll be changes again from the weekend's game. Now, he's got to keep players fresh, but also give a few players minutes, because we do not want to go into that Europa League final where the likes of Antonio Valencia, Paul Pogba, the main sort of players, haven't played any football at all. Now, obviously, Paul Pogba's dad sadly passed away not too long ago, so I don't know if he will feature in this game, but does need to feature, hopefully, against Crystal Palace a few days before that other game in the Europa League final, because we don't want to go, as I say, go into it and we're not match sharp, we're not ready. You need games to be ready to go into a cup final. You looked at what happened to Celta Vigo. They were so relaxed in the league, and then we played them away in Spain and they looked absolute dog shit. Okay, they were up a bit more for the second leg, but I think that was more to do with the fact that we were a lot worse in that second leg. I think Celta Vigo have been absolutely shocking lately, and I think that's a lot to do with it. You've seen in the past few years, not so much this season, but in previous years, Bayern Munich have rested so many players in the league for Champions League games, and it's actually not helped them get through the Champions League, because they've just relaxed in the league, taken their eye off, and then when they've come to a big Champions League game, it's like bang, you've got to be on it. And some of these players haven't played for 2 or 3 weeks, sort of 80, 90 minutes, and it can be hard to get in the groove, because this is a real tough game. Manchester United against Ajax. They're a young side, so we've got to be on it in that game. But I would expect changes for this game. I'm not too sure who's going to be in goal. I'm not too sure. It probably will be David Gea. He's hinted that Joel Pereira will get a chance in goal in one of these next 2 games. Now, ideally, Manchester United want to give David Gea a send-off if he's leaving Manchester United. So I wouldn't be surprised if in that final game he gives Joel Pereira like half an hour, 40 minutes, and takes David Gea off so that he can have a standing ovation maybe from the crowd, because he has been fantastic for Manchester United, and it really does look like he's going to leave this summer, which is sad news. But obviously he wants to go back home to Spain, and he's kept Manchester United in so many games over the last 2 or 3 years. Been absolutely fantastic, and we can't begrudge him wanting to go back home for his family and stuff like that. But I reckon he will be in goal for this one. I think Valencia will probably come back in at right back, and probably be Darmian at left back. Then Bailey will play probably with Smalling at the centre of defence. Now Smalling needs game time, because we're going to have to probably play him in that final with no Eric Bailly. So and Blind can play and can also play in that final. So Eric Bailly can't play in the final, so he might as well play the remaining 2 games. Now I would expect Tuanzebe to come out of the team for this match. Fellaini's back, so hopefully we'll see Fellaini in this game. Don't really often say that, because I don't really want him to be in the final, but I know he will be in the final. I'd like to see him get a chance in midfield. I would expect probably Herrera to come back as well, get some more minutes, because he didn't play so much at the weekend. Now, you've got to play some players. I mean, I can't see him going with the full U team in this game. Give a few players minutes in this one, and the ones that don't get many minutes in this one will probably get some against Crystal Palace. Now, he probably will give a few youngsters a chance against Crystal Palace, I think, more than this one. Now, maybe Carrick will play in there with Herrera and Fellaini, or it might be a 2-man midfield. We will have to wait and see. But also, I would expect Juan Mata probably to get another run out for Manchester United. There has been talks of James Rodriguez coming to Manchester United in the summer, which could mean that Juan Mata is surplus requirements at Manchester United. We will have to wait and see what happens there, but he will probably get a game somewhere, maybe will probably be out wide. And Jesse Lingard maybe will start this game again. I'm not too sure. It's all a toss-up. We just do not have a clue what Jose Mourinho is going to do. He could shock us all and play the likes of Matty Willock and a lot of other youngsters in the Manchester United fold, but I can't really expect him. I'm not expecting him to do that for this one. I would more expect it against Crystal Palace. And who else? Probably be Martial up front. I would maybe expect Rashford maybe to be on the bench. It is a complete toss-up, but we did struggle against Southampton in that League Cup final, but we did get that win over them. Gabbiadini got a couple of goals in that, so we will have to wait and see what happens in this game. But obviously, performances and playing well is a lot more important to me than to actually get a result in this game. If we're just unlucky and lose this game 2-1 or 3-2, I couldn't give a shit. As long as if some young players come in the likes of 2-1 Zebby, then I'd happily take him being man of the match throughout the game, from both sides being the man of the match, and Manchester United losing 2-1 than us winning the game 3-0 and Southampton were absolutely dog shit and they just gave us 3 goals, put them on the plate. Because to be honest, I want to see some nice young players come into these last 2 games really and stake a claim for next season to say, hey, Jose Mourinho, I've performed really well in these last 2 games. Okay, it wasn't enough to get me in the Europa League final, but we've got a lot of games again this season. I should be in amongst the squad, and I fully expect Tuan Zebi to be a much more integral part of Jose Mourinho's plans next season now that he's starting to get game time. And yes, it has been because Ashley Young, Fosa Mensah and Valencia all been out of the team. Well, 2 of them injured and 1 rested. But still, that was the case under Louis van Gaal last season. All the forwards were injured and Rashford come in. So people are having a go at Jose Mourinho for saying that. The same happened under Louis van Gaal. Alright, admittedly Louis van Gaal did bring in a few extra young players, but still. Anyway, we will have to wait and see on this one. They've got some exciting players, even though the manager, Claude Puel, is under pressure at Southampton, but they've got the likes of Redmond that could cause Manchester United problems. So we will have to wait and see. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. I think it'll be hard to get the win, but I'm not too bothered about the result. As I say, performance over result. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon.